Hello and welcome back to the soft skills working in Microsoft Word video tutorial series for computer studies students writing reports, programming reports in particular, or project reports. Right, so in this section I'm going to deal with a whole lot of things that are useful to people writing code and pseudocode. So without further ado, let's get to all the different tricks. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is put a little heading pseudocode in, and I'm going to make it for the sake of this document, I'm going to make it a main heading. Alright, so one of the things that is often done in pseudocode is assignment. So you often will see x equals 10, but very often an arrow is used instead of an equals. And I've seen students try to do horrendous things to try and get the arrow, the leftward facing arrow, and it's actually pretty straightforward when you know how to do it. So the trick is as follows: you type in the less than inequality sign, which is shift comma, which is next to M, and you then press the minus key without any spaces in between it. The minus key is the dash, which is next to the O on the top row of the keyboard. Press it once and press it twice, and the minute you press it the second time, that automatically turns that into a character representing a left pointing arrow. Okay, so let's suppose I wanted the arrow going the other way now. I can simply reverse the process, exactly the same idea, but instead of starting with the inequality, I go the minus, and then I go shift full stop, which is between the, or if you like, the greater than sign. The minute I type in the greater than sign, Word will automatically combine those three keystrokes into the right pointing arrow, and I can now do something like that. Now, when you're writing code in your document or pseudocode, you somehow have to make it stand out from the rest of your code. So the best way to do that is to use a completely different font, but you need to choose carefully here. You want to choose a font that has got a good track record of making ones and L's and zeros and O's quite distinctive. So alright, list of integers, for example. Alright, so let's suppose I did that. Now, just looking at this lot, it's not all that straightforward to tell whether that capital O there is a zero or not. So it's a good idea to have a font that does do that very easy for you, and one of the better ones is Courier New. So once I've selected all my code and I've turned it to Courier New, one, it makes it clearer exactly what is it's a very clear font, and lets you see very clearly the difference between the O and the zero, the difference between ones and L's, and furthermore it'll allow the code to stand out and be completely different against the normal style of writing that you might be using throughout the rest of your document. The final thing which we're going to talk about is how to do a hard page break and a hard line break. Alright, so what I've done is I've added a comment after this assignment in my code, and I've deliberately made it go on for quite a while. So possibly what I want to do is I want to force that there to sort of go into the next line, and the way I can do that is if I hold the shift key in and press enter, it'll break that onto the next line automatically. Well, why didn't I just press enter? Well, to answer that question, if I do the show reveal, if I show you all the hidden characters, it'll allow you to see what is going on. If we're in the home section and we look very quickly at this backwards P and I click that, this will show and reveal all the non-printable characters. So you can see the spaces come up as dots and various other things, but you'll notice that a hard line break, which is where you press enter, is got a backwards P. So that's treated as a completely different line. Whereas this, and a new paragraph in fact, whereas this, shift enter, has created a completely different symbol. So it has pushed this line onto the next line, but it has kept it as the same paragraph. So wherever this line now moves, the whole paragraph will kind of move together with it. To hide the characters that use these non-printable characters, you simply click the backward P again, and that will hide everything from view. The last thing that we're going to talk about quickly is sometimes you might end up with a whole bunch of code like this that, for whatever reason, let's suppose it doesn't make sense to break it apart. So some of it might have ended up on the next page, and you didn't really want that to happen. So what you would then do is you would then force the code at this point to go, that whole paragraph, all the work on this point, to go into the next page. And you can do that by pressing enter a lot of times, or you can insert what's called a page break or a hard page break, which you do by pressing the control key, holding the control key and pressing enter, and that will insert a hard page break. If I go back to the real codes, I can then see what's going on. So after pseudocode, I now have a page break, which means straight away after this point, boom, I'm going to jump automatically onto the next page. And I can also see I've put in loads of enters that didn't need to be there, and I can get rid of those, and this will allow me to keep bits of code together that make sense to keep them together. Finally, to hide all the settings again. I hope this was useful. Thanks for watching. Our next video deals with tables.